South Dakota feeds the world. It's estimated every farm dotting the landscape fills the mouths of 155 people with the grain and meat produced on this windswept land. In fact, cattle outnumber people more than 4 to 1. In cities like Arlington, the skyscrapers are grain elevators, but not even they can hold the bountiful harvest farmers of the plains produce. The mountains of corn and soybeans spill out onto the ground until trucks and trains transport it to market. The farmers' efficiency has, in some sense, become their demographic demise, says weekly newspaper editor Frank Chrysler.
Before World War II, these towns were thriving because the people would have many children, and those children would stay here. They would reinvest in their communities, and we'd keep our best and brightest. Well, the Depression hit hard, and so the farm families started to scatter. And then after World War II, these towns were really hit because all of the kids who had gone off to war mostly didn't come back.
Only the essential retailers survive on Arlington's main street that once housed 3 hardware stores and 2 grocers. Yet this community has managed to maintain with only modest official decline.
Well, we had 992 in the 2000 census, but then we dropped to 912, I believe, in the 2010 census, so we did see a drop-off. However, we're small enough that we know who takes our census, and by all reports, the 2000 census taker was much more aggressive than the 2010 was.
Hope springs eternal here. Those that remain to support the ag sector choose this comforting lifestyle.
I don't have to deal with something as simple as stoplights. I can confess that I don't ever lock my back door. I don't have to.
And in this place where farmers' equipment has more computing power than the spaceship that went to the moon,
you wouldn't even need a person anymore. It all is run by the satellites.
The next generation craves the connectivity afforded those in populated places.
Shouldn't everybody have the same access to it?
But the internet's reach here at the Arlington School was stretched thin before 2012. The school's tech coordinator, Mike Perry,
if you wanted to view a video, you had to take a lot of time just for the video to buffer.
Is married to the English teacher, Lisa Perry.
Things slow down, things freeze up.
Both agree it was not a good learning experience.
Kids were never really able to be interactive.
But thanks to a partnership among SDN Communications, the state of South Dakota, and the federal stimulus effort, the Broadband Technology Opportunities Program helped fund building a fiber optic connection to the school. It's just one of 308 connections built in South Dakota to what the feds call anchor institutions. It took $25 million for the statewide project. The federal government authorized $20 million. SDN matched the grant with another $5 million.
It's greatly appreciated by everybody here. I think it's money that's been well spent. I don't think it's just a frivolous thing to say that we didn't need it. We did need it.
Maybe one of the reasons that is important is because we are a little bit restricted in our geography. We don't always have access to first-hand experiences that maybe people who live on the coast or live in big urban areas do. And so maybe my kids need it even more because we can bring in a video of a performance that they might not otherwise see. We can bring in a video of a speech that maybe another senior class would be able to go attend. But because we live where we live and we are kind of in a sparsely populated area, our kids need exposure to those things too.
Most adults wouldn't recognize the methods used by these modern learners. Gone are the days of teacher-centric classrooms where everyone was forced to learn at the same pace. These students use laptops every hour of the school day and take them home too. They learn at the pace that fits them and benefit from the virtual blackboards where they see each other's writing and critique classmates' speeches online and in real time.
Yes, we teach Macbeth, and yes, we teach To Kill a Mockingbird, and those are really important cornerstones in the curriculum. But these kids have to be able to take information from, from the web and from the news and all of these sources that fire at us 24/7, and they have to be able to make sense of it. And then they have to be able to convey that they understand and comprehend. And if you don't have the ability to put that laptop in their hands, then you're taking away probably what is their most valuable tool for getting information.
The school saves in textbook costs and other hard resources that quickly become outdated. These methods have revolutionized the publishing industry, and Mrs. Perry says it's revolutionizing her profession's age-old teaching methods, from lecturing to facilitating. She challenges critics to spend a day in her classroom to understand the benefits of the change.
They're as hungry as anybody else. They're as curious as anybody else.
And the government, she says, should stand up for its promise to leave no child behind.
I want to be successful.
Times change and kids change. And to try to apply the old rules and the old standards and the old methods to modern learners, it just isn't a good fit.
It even erases inequalities.
There's a lot of kids that can't afford it. Without the school laptops, I think a lot of kids would have to do without. They don't have a choice.
Arlington teachers predict each of these students will advance to college or technical school. And while history predicts only 10% will return home for careers, community leaders hold out hope.
There's no reason to be provincial anymore. You can grow up in a province, but you don't have to be provincial. And that's what the internet does.
Well, I'm going to be a dentist, so they have to use a lot of stuff with the computer.
If there's an opportunity for me to stay in South Dakota, I'd love to do it.
I'd like to go to Arizona, or maybe stay in South Dakota, but I'm not sure.
Schools like this predict the broadband stimulus effort will stitch together the country's digital divide, similar to what the government did with the electricity and phones for rural areas 70 years ago. A noble effort leading to a nationwide conversation.
These kids get a ton of exposure because they've got that laptop in their hands. Every day I have my seniors log on and we look at an issue of the day. Today we just looked at the school lunch guidelines that are new and we broke those down. We looked at the Lance Armstrong issue and we talk about the doping and the quote-unquote witch hunt. We're looking at things that are happening in the world, and so hopefully they are, well-versed and they're informed in the public. And some people would say, well, why do you got to know that? But if you don't know anything about Lance Armstrong today, then your head is in the sand. You're not engaged in the world around you. If I can't say what happened with Lance Armstrong this weekend, and you can't raise your hand and say he got stripped of all his titles because of the, and those are parts. That's just part of the dialogue of being an American.
A dialogue that will keep South Dakota connected.